times this season where I've looked at the top of the Championship and thought, from a neutral's perspective, thank goodness for Ipswich Town. Otherwise, it would look a little bit like three massively overpowered teams coming down from the Premier League and wiping the floor with most of the opposition.
Yeah, and then when you look at the bottom of the Premier League as well, there's something quite ominous about that and who's likely to come back down. So if the three that came down went straight back up and vice versa, it would give you a direction of travel and the disparity between the Premier League and the EFL that's trying to be countered by the new insistence that the Premier League chucks more money down.
Sorry, go on, Andy.
I was just going to say, I've seen Leicester probably 4 times this season and I've been really impressed. And I know they're having a wobble at the minute. And I'm looking and haven't seen a lot of Premier League games as well. I'm pretty confident that Leicester would have stayed up in the Premier League with the squad that they've got. I know they lost a couple, but they didn't lose too many. They've replaced them, the players that they did lose, quite well, and they're a really, really strong outfit with a massively high wage bill. And it does bring up that discussion then about that disparity between the established Premier League clubs and the ones who've been in there for a couple of years, how much money they've earned, and how can the clubs in the Championship be able to compete with them.
There's also the point that they could have had, emphasis on could, because it's kind of a story that's unravelling at the moment. Points deducted if they'd stayed in the Premier League, but I think we'll save that one for another day because it's a little bit dense for now. Just one more on the top of the table, Andy, before we go down to the other end. We were just talking about Marcus Rashford, a striker who, when he scores, can get on a real run. We could say the same about a man that you played with briefly at Nottingham Forest when he was a real young kid, which is Patrick Bamford. No goals in his first 16 games this season, now 8 in 13.
Yeah, and I think he's always been kind of pretty streaky in his goal-scoring form. When he's hot, he's fantastically hot. He's a brilliant footballer. And you know what I like about it? I mean, his goals are brilliant. I'm just thinking now the goal that he scored against Peterborough, that volley. It was Peterborough. Was it in the cup?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, it was in the cup. Absolutely fantastic. He's a player that's got a really, really good temperament for football. He always has. He was, he was probably 17, maybe 18, something like that when I played with him, and he was just coming through, and we were always struck by the maturity of him at such a young age. So when he got his move to Chelsea, everybody was delighted for him, but never felt that was the right move for him. That he needed to go somewhere and play, and he looks like he's found a home in Leeds, and they seem to really like him, and he's hot at the minute.
The bottom of the Championship then, Mark. I'm going to go from 16th because I have to.
Yeah.
Now, there are a couple of games in hand floating around, but I'm going to leave them out, otherwise we'd be here all day. So from Plymouth in 16th, Plymouth 40 points, Blackburn 40, Millwall 40, QPR 39, Birmingham 39, Huddersfield 38, and then the relegation zone, Stoke 38, Sheffield Wednesday 38, Rotherham United 19. Every single one of those teams, for one reason or another, has had a managerial change. Is Marty Cifuentes at Queen's Park Rangers arguably the one who deserves most credit of all?
I've met him several times. I had a long chat to him a couple of weeks ago. I think so. I think it's an inspired appointment. He's had a couple of promotions previously. He's come in. He exudes such calm. He's really got momentum. At no point when I met him early doors, he always talked positively. I think the one concern at the bottom of the table from QPR's point of view was at one stage it looked like 3 out of 4, and so you were targeting the one that was just outside the relegation zone. But that list of teams you've just outlined there, Steve, it is 8 teams now divided by 2 points, and there's some massive games today as well, because Blackburn are hosting Plymouth. Blackburn's still waiting for John Eustace's first win. Plymouth have only taken 5 points from the last 21. Fans starting to have a nibble at Ian Foster as appointed, and Millwall, little bit resurgent under Neil Harris. They're entertaining Birmingham as well. No win in their last 3. I mean, big games.
Some big clubs in that kind of bottom 8, isn't there? Really, really big clubs, and it just goes to show that the Championship doesn't have respect for any of them big clubs, and they're seen as a really big scalp. Just on the QPR one, I seen Steve Cook not long after the manager went in, and he was really, really impressed with him. Said he's got a really good way of working. The players have really bought into it, and maybe at the start it was a little bit kind of trying to get his ideas across, and now you look at them and they've got a way of playing. They've got what looks to be building in the direction of an identity, and they've got some experienced players there as well.
Speaking of new managers, Mark, you've been speaking to Nathan Jones, who still feels pretty new at Charlton this week, and also we've got Gary Monk going in at Cambridge, which is an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Nathan's had a very good month, particularly the last couple of games. Talking to a couple of the owners before they played Portsmouth at home, which was a fortnight ago. I did go to that, and they managed to get their first goalless. They managed not to concede for the first time. I think it was 18, 19 games. I think probably Portsmouth and Derby, they'd have probably thought the work starts after that, but he's picked up 4 points from that. They've picked up 2 wins from their last 3. He's making them quite strong. I think I saw that Connor Wickham was a free agent, and they've taken him in because the one thing they lacked a fortnight ago when I saw them was they were tough, resolute,